Welcome and thank you for tuning into this episode of the podcast. Evidently, you're unaware. I am your host, Andrea, also known as the Successful Diva. I am glad that you're here today. I'm always glad when you've taken the time to come, stop by, and listen to relevant information. Why is that? It's because information helps us to make better decisions. So I will do just that today, providing insight into a topic, an issue, or a group of people that influence our lives. And quite frankly, today's topic, if I'm being honest, is unpleasant. Yet, even receiving news that's unpleasant or information that seemingly is unfavorable or that we don't even want to hear, quite frankly, doesn't mean that the information should not be heard and that you should not be aware that it exists. So I'll start with this. As we continue to rise collectively as a nation from one of the most, I should say, tumultuous, at least in my time, the depths of the longest government shutdown in American history, 43 days, it's time for every individual to kind of understand really where the nation is. What's the status of the nation economically? And since the adults in the room who provide honest analysis on our economy and our labor force have, for the most part, been dismissed, I'm here to shed some light. I do a little bit of research. I ensure that obviously some of the information comes forth in my own analysis, but certainly through vetted and dedicated sources to where I can share it here on this platform. And so I want you to know that I'm only one person. It's going to take all of us to sound the alarm to our friends, our family, neighbors, coworkers, in general, everybody, even if they don't want to hear it or not, does not make it untrue. And so we have to sound the alarm on what's happening. And I encourage you, share this information, share this broadcast as you see fit, because it's going to impact each of us for the foreseeable future. So let's get smarter. Recession. No one likes the word, but yet the word does exist. It is a word that has real world impact, and it can be devastating in some cases. A recession is a significant and prolonged decline in economic activity, characterized by falling gross domestic product. You've commonly heard that referred to in short as GDP, gross domestic product. That is rising unemployment. It couples with rising unemployment and decreased retail sales. Now, some of you have been shopping of lately, and some of us have not. I know I've not in some cases. I have followed some of the nationwide boycotts. I've not missed a thing. I will tell you, it has helped in so many ways to not participate in certain things as we continue to get the attention of those who are making, lots of profit in this case. But let me just say that a recession really comes when there's an informal indicator of when two consecutive quarters result in negative GDP. So if two consecutive quarters result in negative GDP, economists typically label that as a recession. And currently, to be honest, no one wants to acknowledge that on the side of the current administration. So here we are. And I'm here to share with you that there are those studying this area, and all indicators suggest that the country is in a recession, and it's not going to be like the one in 2008. Previously, the recession of 2008, job losses came from factories shutting down or banks closing. But currently, layoffs are happening from within the glass towers and corporate boardrooms. Artificial intelligence, AI, has given companies a new way to cut ties with humans. So their human costs are going down, and nestled within all of that is massive job loss. And so what's so troublesome about the job losses today is that there is little to zero guarantee that those jobs will come back. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm here to simply share a snapshot through Moody's analytics of what is occurring in the United States today. So take a look with me. According to Moody's analytics, over one half of the country is struggling. The states showing in red and yellow account for 31.8% of the US's overall GDP, and that trend is expanding. I want you to see this and hear me say it again. The states in red and yellow account for 31.8% of the US's overall GDP, and that trend is expanding. During a recession, the average person is at a higher risk of unemployment and financial shortages. Other things that occur during the recession typically don't feel good, and we have to start looking at what we are doing in our own respective households to help combat, or I should say offset, what is happening worldwide during a recession. And let me just simply add this in for context. The United States of America is currently 38.15 trillion with a T in debt. This amount represents a $1 trillion increase since January 1 of 2025. That $1 trillion increase makes it the fastest accumulation of $1 trillion in debt outside of the COVID-19 pandemic. So we have slid into a recession quietly, but yet expanding rapidly. And we've increased our debt. And when I say we, it's still the United States of America, no matter how some people look at it. Ultimately, we all will pay for that debt in some way, shape, or form. So I want you to just, before I remove this screen, look at the states. Over half of the country, 23, 24, 25 states, red and yellow, make up 31.8% of the US's overall GDP. This is where the country is, according to Moody Analytics. And if your state, my state's currently in green, however, it is not safe to simply do the things that we've been doing when we can see with information, valid, factual, that something is happening and it's going in the wrong directions. And might I add, the tariffs do not make it any better, and they are not benefiting the American people at all. So what I will say is this: ultimately, when you have things that end up hurting the American people, and we don't pull back the curtain on what's happening and address it from a safe, smart, economic posture, things happen. And I've already stated that 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP, which we've had, is the indicator of a recession. And so I want you to know that this is what's happening. My platform is designed to make you aware of things that simply might slip right under the radar, and you just may not yet understand how it impacts you and how it may impact your family. So that is what I am here to do. So in short, take notice of where we are, United States citizens. It's not the best outlook, and there's nothing yet positively indicating that it will get better in the foreseeable future. That's not to be pessimistic. It's just simply we've not yet gained an optimistic view through the numbers and through the data that things are going to get better anytime soon. So with that being said, thank you for tuning into this episode of the podcast, Evidently You're Unaware. Now, I am no financial advisor. I'm not. So don't take this as advice. However, here's what I do know: recessions are emotional. Economic pain has always bred anger and fear, but this time in this America, during this season, anger is already here. It's been simmering for years. How do I know? Women's rights rollbacks, deportations, cultural identity, and more. And a recession. When we add a recession to that volatile mix, something bigger erupts. And when fear sets in, spending stops, trust collapses, and the economy follows. And here's the last thing I'll say: what the 34 count convicted felon has taught all of us in this moment, in this season, it is this: we have no time to be quiescent. Look that word up. My name is Andrea. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you for tuning in. I'd love to hear from you. Any of your comments, any of the things that you'd like to hear or want more information, inbox me at andrea@strategicblueprint.info. Follow me on Blue Sky at thesuccessfuldiva.bsky.social. And don't forget, subscribe. If you've not done so, help me keep this information going with your subscription to the channel on YouTube at Evidently You're Unaware. And now, TikTok. Follow me at EYU Podcast. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a great day.
Evidently, You're Unaware is a platform dedicated to shining light upon various issues, topics, circumstances, and people who influence our lives. The information provided should not be considered advice for legal, health, investments, or the endorsement of an individual or group. Neither the host nor the guest of Evidently You're Unaware is responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities that may arise from using the information shared within this podcast. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Evidently, You're Unaware.